better team than we came up representing ourselves.
Call a sack lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
Good morning, Sac City. Welcome into another episode of the Sac City Podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Vinny Milani, joined, as always, by my best friend in the whole entire world. He is Aaron the Muxiah Mukes, and I put an emphasis on the Muxiah part because last night it was quite possibly the picture-perfect game for one Aaron Mukes, because not only did he predict the Buffalo Bills to win, but he predicted an absolute ass-whooping from the Bills onto the Los Angeles Rams. And although the game was 17-10 heading into the fourth quarter, it really didn't seem like it was close. But enough of me talking about it. Aaron, without further ado, let's get in to our Buffalo Bills, Los Angeles Rams, Week 1 Thursday Night Football highlight.
Yeah, it started early in this one. Defending Super Bowl champs taking on the Super Bowl favorites. And I told you about this guy in the offseason, Gabriel Davis, catching the pass there on the play action from Josh Allen. And then it was a former Ram making his impact early. It was Von Miller. He torched them all night long. Big reason why the Bills won this game. Aaron Donald didn't miss out on his turn either. It's probably one of the few highlights for him of the day. When they didn't double team him, he would make an impact there. Aaron Donald gets the sack. But in the second half, the Buffalo Bills would get the running game going. And that's really what this game was about to me. 121 yards on the ground. Started with Devin Singletary. Zach Moss got on the action. And then, of course, the most dangerous man in the red zone in the NFL is Josh Allen, showing the athleticism. Allen was all over the place in this one. And then the dagger here late in the fourth quarter. It's Josh Allen, and he finds arguably the best wide receiver in football. I know we're going to have this debate coming up. It's Stephon Diggs, and the Rams go and fall short, as I stated, 31-10. And if you want to call that fall short, feel free. But the Buffalo Bills put an ass whooping on the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, that they did. And yeah, Stephon Diggs finished 8 receptions on 122 yards and a tutty. Josh Allen in this game, he dominated as well, going 26 of 31, 297 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then to top it off, his rushing game was sick too. 10 carries, 56 yards, and a tutty on the ground. It was an absolute dominating performance from the Bills. What stood? I was going to ask you what stood out the most from the Bills, but really it was everything. It was everything. Everything was great. But the first thing I want to talk about with the Bills, and it might be more fantasy talk, Zach Moss. In this game, he had a lot more touches than I expected. Zach Moss touched the ball. He had 6 carries on the ground. He had 6 catches as well. So 12 total touches for Zach Moss in this game. He was productive with his touches as well, I'd say. What do you think about what do you make, I should say, of the Rams backfield right now?
You mean the Bills backfield?
Bills. Sorry. Yes, Bills.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to be made. I think everybody made a big deal about last year and what happened with Zach Moss. He was inactive. He had some things going on in his personal life. He had some injuries. They pointed those injuries out a number of times on the telecast. And then you think about it, the year before when he was a rookie, he had a really good year. So as far as being a rookie and being productive. So I think he looked fresh. I think he looked healthy. And I think this goes to show people we have to stop with the rookie hype so much. Everybody, and again, the fantasy conversation of everybody who drafted Bills running backs, James Cook was the first one taken. Sometimes over Devin Singletary. I'm telling you right now, Devin Singletary is the lead back in that Buffalo Bills, on the Buffalo Bills this season. Lead back, he will see the most touches, he will see the most carries, but Zach Moss is going to be that second guy until he shows that he can't be. Now, again, he fumbled as well, but Cook fumbled early in the game when it really mattered. That was a big deal. But I think we have to stop hyping up the rookies so much because they have a good preseason or they're supposed to be taking over. Like we gotta stop doing that.
Yeah,
It's
the narrative
it's the Brian Robinson argument for me with Antonio Gibson. It's the Romeo Dobbs argument. Like this week, I'm interested to see about that. We just got to pump the brakes a little bit and let these rookies come in and find their footing. And then when you watch them play, decide whether they're really going to have that impact or not.
Yeah, the narrative I feel like is there so much with like in the offseason when you talk about James Cook, and it's like, okay, he was a great pass catching back at Georgia. He doesn't have like an insane amount of mileage on him, so you think the usage could be there as well. And I mean, the narrative is hopefully there for James Cook, but patience is something that everyone is going to have with all rookie running backs. The Bills went 9 of 10 on first down. That is a recipe for success if you want to beat the defending Super Bowl champions. Third down conversion, 9 of 10. And I think the most notable thing with the Bills that we have to talk about is the impact of Von Miller. The Bills as a team had 7 sacks, the most allowed sacks under a Sean McVay Rams team. How much, what did you think of Von Miller's impact last night?
I thought he played dominant like he played when he was with Denver and then like he played towards the end of last season. And I was the first to say I didn't love the signing for the Rams last year, and it worked out. And then they go pay him big money in Buffalo, and it seems to already be paying dividends. But I don't think we can just gloss over the fact that I put out a video today, obviously with my victory lap about I've been calling it all offseason. This was going to be a blowout. But in that was an episode we talked about, which was power rankings. And I said in that exact episode, I said, I don't think people are talking about the losses on the Rams like they should be, which starts at the offensive line. And their offensive line was terrible. I mean, yes, Von Miller made an impact, but you saw guys getting 2-3 sacks that hadn't even had 5 all of last year. So I think that's, to me, the more glaring issue is when you get guys that are making plays, not just a Von Miller, but you also have Gregory Rousseau who got a sack, and another couple. Jordan Phillips got a sack and a half. Like those players that aren't used to doing it are now coming in on the action, and it does. Again, Basham had the sack. Yes, Buffalo's defense great, but we have to be concerned about the Rams' offensive line, not only because of the sacks, but also because of that running game.
I think we talk about it all the time especially with Aaron Donald last year in the Super Bowl, how even if the player like Von Miller isn't getting sacks, in this game he actually did, even if he's not getting sacks, he could still make an impact on that pass rush where you're getting double teamed and you're taking the attention away from the guys like Gregory Rousseau who ended up getting a sack. It's been huge for them. On the Rams side of things, Matthew Stafford after the game was obviously disappointed, but did not have any fears moving forward with his team.
The one thing that gives me, a good feeling is knowing the guys in that locker room and knowing how we're going to, all band together, look at each other, look inward first and go, hey, what can I do to be better for the guy next to me? That starts with our head coach. He's always preaching that to us, and that's real stuff for us as players. That's how we act, and we believe in that locker room.
Man, my computer is skipping like crazy, but obviously Matthew Stafford after the game very disappointed. But do you think that what do you think the problem is with the Rams? Like, what is the big problem that you're going to be able, like you saw in this game, that you're going to take into games of the future?
Everybody should have just listened to me. Everything I said came to fruition. Offensive line did not play well. I told you I had concerns about Allen Robinson's explosiveness on the outside. They lose an Odell. They don't have Van Jefferson in there. Matt Stafford has tunnel vision for Cooper Kupp, and it won them a Super Bowl, and I am not here to knock that connection. That is great. But the reason he threw so many interceptions and led the league in interceptions last year is because he has tunnel vision for Cooper Kupp. And it's great. He had 13 catches and had a big run at the end to make him have all those yards. But early in the game, it was a lot of dinking and dunking. They weren't letting them get over the top because they had no explosive playmakers. Very, very disappointed in Allen Robinson. Or Matt Stafford for not going to him more. It cannot be this offense. This offense will not go back and repeat. This offense cannot be the same as it was last year down the stretch. People will allow Cooper Kupp to catch 5- and 6-yard passes. And at the end of the day, Cooper Kupp, maybe he does go for another 1,900 yards because teams are going to say, go ahead, catch 12 balls for 86 yards and a touchdown, and nobody else does anything, and you won't win. So there has to be concern for the Rams. I know it's only one game, but the way that Matt Stafford has had tunnel vision for Cooper Kupp since Odell got hurt in that Super Bowl, it alarms me. He has to go to other guys. Somebody else has to step up. And I don't know what else to say. It's not a knock on Cooper Kupp. It's just you can't just catch 13 balls, 6 yards a catch, whatever, and get a touchdown and expect to beat a good team like the Buffalo Bills. They didn't allow any explosive plays. And that's what Buffalo does. They suffocate you and force you into mistakes because they're not going to give up an 80-yard bomb. They're going to force you to go 80 yards and bet that you're going to make a mistake before one of their defenders do. And that's exactly what happened last night. And the last point I'll make on this game, this was an absolute ass kicking. And I will say that again. I know it was only 17-10. Buffalo had 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers. 3 like early in the game. And it was a 10-10 game. And you tell me an NFL team that has 4 turnovers and wins games. Like, they created turnovers on their own end, but they lost that turnover battle early, and they still looked like the better team from start to finish.
Yeah, they did, and I'm glad you brought up the Cooper Kupp point. I was talking yesterday with some guys about how Cooper Kupp, like how it's with. Obviously, the Bills' defense is great. Like, they have arguably one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL. And I think that this game sure is like, okay, like, chalk it up to losing to a great team, but this Rams team we talked about, it's not about what the regular season means for them. It's about what they do in the playoffs. And these are the type of teams you're going to be playing in the playoffs. So these games do matter and are a telling sign moving forward. I do want to give our little player of the game here for this matchup too. Obviously, Josh Allen with 353 total yards, 4 tutties, a QBR rating of unreal 89, almost not borderline 90 QBR, and that absolute vicious stiff arm that he had early on in the game. Josh Allen. What?
You took the low-hanging fruit there. I thought you were going to go Von Miller.
I did go the low-hanging fruit then, yes. Yeah,
I thought I would have gone Von Miller, I'll be honest. I thought Josh Allen played good, but that's not even the best Josh Allen. That's so scary. That's what I thought he played good. Obviously, a couple of those interceptions were not his fault. Interception was not his fault, but he was late on the throw. He missed a guy a couple of times, but obviously he played excellent. But yeah, I thought you were going to go Von Miller. I thought the impact that Von Miller had, the fact that you talked about the pass rush needing to step up this year, even more than last year, and that was going to be the key. I thought Von Miller was the pick. But you know what? Josh Allen's a great pick.
I've let you down. I've let you down. The week 1, and I'm already letting you down, and it isn't even noon yet on a Friday that we haven't even gotten into. But yeah, so the Bills obviously defeat the Rams 31-10. This is next week's going to be huge for the Rams to have a bounce back game, and the Bills will hopefully continue rolling. Let's get into our morning. We've got a great show ahead of us, guys. I didn't even mention what we're talking about later. We are previewing the rest of our week 1 slate. If you missed yesterday's show, do go check it out on our YouTube page at Sack City Pod to hear the first half of our week 1 previews. Today we will be completing that, giving you our predictions and diving in to the great matchups that we will see. Without further ado, let's get into our morning headline.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We're rolling this morning. Saints signed center Eric Murray to a 5-year, $63.75 million extension. Another offensive lineman getting signed. The Rams signed offensive tackle Rob Havenstein to a Steen? Is it Stein or Steen? I don't know, whichever one it is. Rob Havenstein to a 3-year, $34.5 million extension. That includes $24 million guaranteed, making him the 6th highest paid right tackle in the NFL at the age of 30. And the Rams still made news before the game announcing extensions for head coach Sean McVay and GM Les Snead. The Rams taking care of their own all day long, except for on the field after getting stomped by the Bills. It's injury report time.
That's right. It's time for your injury report. We got a lot of names on this list, Vinny. Some good, some bad, some irrelevant.
I
Rondale
loaded
Moore
you
for the
up this
Cardinals.
morning. Sorry.
You did.
I looked.
Cardinals Rondale Moore injured his hamstring in Thursday's practice and is going to have an MRI to determine the severity. I told you he might be banged up already, and then you go have that happen. Now you might be down Zach Ertz or Rondale Moore, and that could be some opportunities for other guys. George Kittle, unlikely to play in week 1 after missing another practice Thursday. A growing injury. That's not a good way to start for Trey Lance, losing one of his best weapons. Obviously, George Kittle, one of the better tight ends in football. Ken Walker, we talked about him. He had the hernia injury. He's likely to miss Sunday. We kind of expected that. Dak Prescott, I don't know why this is on there. He wore a different shoe. It irritated his ankle. He's fine. He just didn't practice on Thursday. Or he just limited to practice on Thursday.
I'm just noting the news here, buddy.
Yeah, he's fine. I just think you threw that in there because he was a Cowboy. Christian McCaffrey hits the injury report due to a shin issue. Again, I think people like to just put Christian McCaffrey on the injury report, so it's something to talk about. I think he's fine. Packers, Matt LaFleur, good signs there. David Bakhtiari and Elgton Jenkins did team drills on Thursday. It's important for them to get those two back, two key parts of their team. Robert Saleh and the Jets says Dwayne Brown is being evaluated for a shoulder injury. Not good there. The fact that he just came over there. Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas has a hamstring. He's trending in the right direction. But if he does not play week 1, I am going at all you Michael Thomas stands because it starts in week 1. He's had 2.5 years off of football, and you're not ready for week 1. It's sad. Sad. Deontay Johnson's shoulder was limited, but we talked about that injury was the last preseason game. I think he'll be okay to play. And Alan Lazard did not practice again Thursday with an ankle injury. That could be something to watch for the Packers as well. We mentioned Romeo Doubs. Christian Watson is looking like he's going to play. How much? Sammy Watkins still on the roster. I don't even know if he made the roster.
He's still alive?
So bad. Yeah. But obviously they're going to have to look for somebody to catch some targets there. Shout out Aaron Jones because that's probably going to be their leading receiver, as I said in the offseason.
There you go. There you have it. Our injury report, our morning headlines. Boom, bang, boom. We are rolling this morning hot and heavy. After this commercial break, we are going to be bringing you the rest of our week 1 predictions and previews.
This season preview is brought to you by Manscaped's brand new Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. This luxurious lather cleanses and nourishes in just one step. Using coconut water, green tea, and aloe, this non-greasy daily formula is naturally hydrating and rich in antioxidants to revitalize the look and feel of your hair. So head on over to manscaped.com and use the promo code SACCITY for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. The new Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner from Manscaped. Take care of hair everywhere.
We kick things off with a division rival, a heated division rival between the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Bengals have won 3 straight games against the Steelers for the first time since 1988. When they won 6 straight. Maybe they can continue this week. Last year, it was a very good year for the Bengals in terms of rushing against the Steelers. Joe Mixon averaged 127 yards per game in those 2 games against the Steelers last year. Aaron, what do you think about did the Steelers defensive line and the linebacking group get better enough this offseason to say, okay, we're not going to allow Joe Mixon to run all over us this year?
They better. I mean, that they not only Joe Mixon, they were the worst in the league in rush yards per game. Like, they were the worst run defense in the NFL. And that is not the Steeler way. That is not a Mike Tomlin defense. We have been known for the centuries of the years of Pittsburgh Steelers football to be physical, to be tough, and to stop the run and run the football. And I think we went away from that this past season, and I think they have to get back. It does help when you get guys like Devin Bush, now a year removed from that injury, back in the fold. So I think they get better, but there has to be significant improvement. It's not just to improve. They were 32nd, which means they were last. They have to be significantly better, especially with an offense that we're unsure about them at the quarterback position. So I do think they're better. I don't think they finished last this year. I think Mike Tomlin has too much pride. I think that team has too much talent on the defensive side of the football to finish last again. But Cincinnati has an amazing offense. Now they go get an additional offensive line help. Joe Mixon's a really good running back. They have weapons on the outside. It's going to be tough to stop that offense, whether it's in the passing game, the running game, or wherever. So I think they still struggle in this one, but I think over the course of the season, Pittsburgh should be better in the long run. Joe Mixon should still have a good day.
You brought up all the changes that went on in Cincinnati. Obviously, improving that offensive line was quite possibly the biggest offseason move for any team as a whole, improving that and protecting Joe Burrow. But there's been a lot of changes, I feel like, on both sides of the ball, whether it's the Bengals and the Steelers. What will be the most notable difference, though, we see from these two teams on the field?
Oh, I think it has to be the offensive line play of the Cincinnati Bengals. When you have Joe Burrow back there, who coming off a torn ACL a few years ago, your job is to protect your franchise quarterback. And they went out and did exactly what Kansas City did the year before, which was go address that offensive line, making that the number one priority of that team. And at the end of the day, we said this a number of times. Football is won in the trenches. And I know I harp on this a lot. You can have all the weapons you want on the outside. If you cannot block and you cannot stop the run, you will not be successful in this league. Look at what happened in the Super Bowl when the Rams pass rush got going in the second half. The Rams ended up winning the game. Cincinnati had some games where they were giving up 9-10 sacks and still winning, finding ways to win games. But ultimately, that comes back to bite you in the ass. And I think it did in that Super Bowl, especially in that second half. They made a priority of that offensive line. I think this is the number one factor, even more so than this guy right here in the defensive back play. That defensive line, that offensive line has to be stout in order for a team to go and win a Super Bowl. And it doesn't have to be consistently stout throughout the year. But when it matters most, for a team like Cincinnati that's probably going to be in the playoff hunt, probably going to be fighting for a division, when it matters most, you better get quality play from that offensive and defensive line.
Now the Steelers are starting a new quarterback in Mitch Trubisky. They went with the veteran instead of going with Kenny Pickett. What do you? I'm dropping it for you. What do you think the Mitch Trubisky stat line looks like in Week 1?
Mitch will go like 18 of 25, 18 of 26 for 214 yards, and I'll say he gets 2 touchdowns and throws a pick, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and he'll run for like another 20 or 30 on the ground. Like he's mobile. He won't play bad, but he won't be stellar. I don't think. I think Cincinnati's defense is too good.
I do as well. That's why I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals here, 28-17 over the Steelers in Week 1. What about you?
I'm taking the Bengals as well. I know you Bengals fans think I don't like it because of Eli Apple and all that stuff, but I'm taking the Bengals as well, and I think the Bengals win 28-17.
I am scrolling to see AJ and Dylan's picks.
AJ sent an image, so you should be able to find
Dylan has the Bengals over the Steelers, and AJ has the Bengals over the Steelers 24-21. Our next game on the slate is the New England Patriots traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Last season, the Dolphins swept the Patriots. The third straight season. Restart here. Dolphins, Patriots. Patriots got swept by the Dolphins last year for the first time since 2000. Only 4 teams have ever swept a Bill Belichick team, including the Dolphins in 2000, the Bills in 2000, or the Jets in 2000, and the Bills in 2020. It's always hard, though, whenever New England travels to Miami. Like, that is the storyline I feel like that's most talked about right now. Bill Belichick just cannot win in Miami. He's 9-13 on the road there, lost 7 of their last 9 trips. What is it? I know you laugh at the mental talk or and all that, but what actually is the problem with teams traveling to Miami, especially a team like the Patriots?
It's anybody when you travel on the road to a team that's not terrible. Like, I get we want to make this more than it is, but it is a big deal they don't beat them on the road. But that's a division rival. I mean, you could probably go look at some other teams, how the Niners own the Rams, or this is a division game, regardless of how good or bad these rosters are. It's a division game on the road in the middle of summer, still damn near. I mean, we're just ending summer. It's hot. Let me tell you something. It's hot and humid and muggy, and these guys are coming from New England and don't want to be down there. yeah, it's a problem. It's not. I don't want to attribute it to Bill Belichick or coaching
so
or anything
that's
like
the thing,
that.
though. So against the division rivals for Bill Belichick, the Bills 19-3 when traveling to Buffalo, 17-5 when traveling to the Jets. So
Yeah,
it's a drastic difference.
Yeah, that Miami's a tough place to play, and it is a division opponent. But let's also be honest, Miami's roster has not been terrible. The Jets and the Bills at times had terrible rosters, bad rosters, and again, the Jets have what 5 times at their home field against the Patriots against Belichick, and we probably can attribute those 5 times to when Rex Ryan was there, when they were going to AFC Championship games, and that stuff. So that all comes into play. Miami's not an easy place to play. Kansas City, Seattle, Green Bay, New England. There's tough places to play, and it's not anything to do with whether you can coach or you can't coach or the matchup at the time, because over the course of, what'd you say, 9 and 13, that's 22 games. That's 11 years. It's 11 years, or actually, no, I'm sorry, that's 22 years if you're talking about just road games. That's 22 years of Belichick coaching. How many different players, different situations have been in that locker room? And that includes the GOAT, Tom Brady, and different teams. So I just think it's one of those matchups where Miami gets up for it. Usually it's early or late in the season. There's been times where the Patriots are playing for nothing late in the season and they lose to Miami. And then you get early in the season where the Patriots struggle out of the gate and they lose to Miami. I would argue during the Belichick era, if you played Miami and New England in Miami in October or November, the Patriots would have won more than enough games. I truly believe that.
Now we're playing games here. Now we're playing games. Now we're playing.
I'm dead serious because again,
I get it.
The situation of playing the first game of the year or the last game of the year, like they often do, is a difference, and it matters. New England's known to be a slow starter over the course of the Brady era. At least they've been known to start slow, going 2-2 and 3-3. And then on the back end, a lot of times they had already locked up their position and they didn't play starters the entire game at the end. So we're not accounting for every factor. I'm just saying I think there would be a lot more. If we dove into that, I think there'd be a lot more wins on the New England side had this game be played just in the middle of the season when it mattered. Okay. Maybe you can do some of your research at your job and figure that out.
Yeah, no, that's why we pay people that. That's
how many times have they played the first 2 games or last 2 games of the season? You should pay somebody to do that.
I do know that this is the 3rd straight season that these teams match up in week 1. That's 3
of 22. Already.
There you go. Okay. All right. There you go. All right. Let's go more into this game and talk about some players here. Obviously, a big addition to the Miami Dolphins team was Tyreek Hill, bringing him giving Tua Tagovailoa a big time weapon. Do you think that we will see those 2 guys get off to a hot start, or do you think it'll take some time for Tua and Tyreek Hill to get that rhythm?
Did you watch the preseason game where the first play of the game he just went 60 yards and said, okay, that's enough. I got my rhythm. It's not hard to get Tyreek Hill the ball. That's the thing. It's really not hard to get him the ball. He's a guy that once you put the ball in his hands, he's going to make big plays. They got 2 of those guys on their team. I think it's going to come out of the gate. I told you, this might be one of the more scary offenses in football this year. I really believe that. The weapons that they have with, Cedric Wilson and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think are up there with arguably some of the best in football from a talent perspective. Now it's just about Tua getting those guys the football and making that come to fruition. So I think they'll hit the ground running. I think they have a point to prove, and I think Tua is playing with a chip on his shoulder. I expect big things from this Dolphins offense this year.
Okay. On the other side is your boy, Mac Jones, and you've been known to talk about Mac Jones. I'll just put it that way. You've been known to talk about Mac Jones and have some negative thoughts towards him. This season is almost like a prove-it year for Mac Jones to see if he can actually be the guy in New England to get them over, not get them over the hump, but to be a difference maker. This is the year for Mac Jones to prove if he can be a difference maker for this team or not. What are you hoping to see from him early on in the season, and particularly in this game?
From him, nothing. I think Mac Jones is what he is. I think Mac Jones is the quarterback that can be, you put him in, and he's not going to kill you oftentimes, but he's not going to go out and win you games either. I don't think he has that high ceiling that people seem to think he has. Yeah, he's accurate with the football, one of the more accurate quarterbacks in football, but I think his statuesque ability does not play well in today's NFL. And everybody wants to talk about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Those guys are on a different level. They played in an NFL where that type of quarterback was successful and transitioned to an NFL as it was transitioning to the mobile quarterback, but already knew so much about defenses that he picked you apart. Defenses have changed. Mac Jones is still trying to learn that, and he doesn't have the time to learn that and learn how to be mobile or move in the pocket. Like I just think he's at a disadvantage from a superstar perspective. Now, if people want to get on me because I said he's going to be a backup in the draft, sure, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, like I do believe he can play football, but yeah, to tell me that that's the future, that's the guy that's going to go take you and be the next Tom Brady or close to it or try to win Super Bowls, I don't buy it. I don't think that he has that in him. I think he's more Jimmy Garoppolo-esque with better accuracy than he is, one of the superstar quarterbacks in this league. And I think that's a disappointment when you draft a first-round quarterback. I think you can find Jimmy Garoppolo's late. I feel like you can find those guys later in the draft. Shout out Bailey Zappi. Put that man in and let him cook.
You let Bailey Zappi cook.
It's really up to Belichick and how they want to run that offense. Are they going to let him unleash and show it, or are they going to be scared and just hand the ball off as many times as they did last year and let Mac Jones throw 22 touchdowns and 13 picks?
So I'm assuming this is an easy answer. Which quarterback has the better day on Sunday? What is it, Tua or Mac Jones?
Tua for a number of reasons. Number one, matchup. I think the Dolphins secondary is better than the Patriots. I think the Dolphins defense is better than the Patriots. So I'll take Tua in that one. I think it's pretty easy.
Okay, what do you got for a score?
I'll take Miami in this one, and I don't think it's a blowout because it's a division game, but I don't think it's close either. I think Miami's offense scores a lot of points. I would take Miami 31-20.
I'll take Miami 24-23. I think this kind of comes down to the wire. I think in the game itself, I think it takes some time for we see a slow start from the Dolphins, but I think they finish the job, and I think they get the job done. 24-23. AJ has the
Dylan has the Dolphins over the Patriots.
AJ has the Dolphins over the Patriots as well. 27-20 is AJ's prediction. The next game on our list is the Baltimore Ravens traveling to New York to take on the New York Jets. This was a game that we will see Mr. Joe Flacco suit up in a revenge game for Joe Flacco against the Baltimore Ravens. It's the Jets. It's the Ravens. Aaron, what do you see? What do you see this offense looking like under Joe Flacco? You're on mute, homie.
Not very dynamic. Not dynamic enough. I think that he'll be okay. He shouldn't kill them. But without Zach Wilson, I think they lose out on some of those dynamic playmaking abilities, getting in and out of the pocket and running and things like that. But I think they'll be okay. I mean, they're going to struggle because it's Baltimore's defense. Like, it didn't matter if this was the Jets or somebody else. I have Baltimore as my number 3 power ranked team in the NFL, and maybe number 2. I don't know. I think number 3. I think. But I think they'll struggle in this one. But I'm excited about the Jets, and it's hard to say that because I know these first 9 weeks they have a brutal schedule, and I'm probably going to say the same thing over and over and over again. I'm excited, but they're going to lose. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, they are
or the Jets team.
No idea what you just said.
I just said I'm not excited. I'm just saying I'm excited, but I'm not expecting wins.
Gotcha. And as we're recording this and going live, as we are live with this, I should say the Dwayne Brown has been ruled out for the New York Jets in this game with a shoulder injury. They think that people are saying it's not going to be good for Joe Flacco, not going to be good for Breece Hall, not going to be good for Michael Carter. overall, this isn't going to be good for the New York Jets. With or without Dwayne Brown, this would be a tough game for the Jets. But on the Baltimore side of things, lots of returning faces: Lamar Jackson, Marcus Peters, lots of returning faces. Maybe a J.K. Dobbins if he plays in this game. Lots of players coming back from injury from last season. What player are you most excited to see return in this game?
I hope that's J.K. Dobbins. I hope, but I know he might not play. But that would be the guy that I'm most excited about, because I think we still have some unanswered questions. I think we think the talent and we believe in the talent based on that first year, but obviously getting hurt early in preseason last year. Kind of now we're like, he's kind of damaged goods. Like, we don't trust him, or we're not sure about him. So I would like to see him back on the field. It's so weird how some of these guys, and I know every injury is different, but you got guys that could tear their ACL week 10 and they're ready to go by the start of the season. And you can have a guy that tears his ACL in preseason and now it's a whole year out and they're not ready to go. So I don't want to attribute to work ethic or the rehab process and are you doing enough, but I do find that very interesting. And I'm always excited for the guys that are able to get back quick because I want to see them play. But there's also something to be said about taking your time and make sure you're fully recovered, not just physically, but mentally. And I think that's the most important part. People often talk about the injuries being physical, like, oh, now we can make cuts. Now, it's not about that. These guys are top-level athletes that move at high rates of speed. If they do not trust their bodies to make those movements, they're not going to be efficient. And I'm sorry. I know we talked about this earlier on the show. Cam Akers looks like a shell of himself. He does not look explosive. And I worry that he came back too quickly. Like, he doesn't trust it, and he's not explosive. And I'm sorry, I know the Achilles injuries have been bad, and it's hard to come back from. But I think by rushing him back, and I said this last year, it could hurt him mentally. And mentally is not a like, oh my God, I'm soft, I can't do it. It's I'm still in my mind thinking if I take this step or if I do this, my knee is going to give out. My Achilles is going to give out. And that is something that you can't just shake. Like, you have to be 100% confident in your ability to move. And I don't see that from him. So I worry about players like that. I hope J.K. Dobbins says, you know what? I'm not stepping on that field until I'm 100% ready to go. And I feel like I can move the way I moved before from a mental perspective, not just what my body's doing. And that's where I'm at, but I'm most excited to see him. Sorry, I went on that little soliloquy.
No, you're good. You're good. There's one player I do want to kind of just touch on before we move on to our predictions. It's Lamar Jackson. He obviously set the contract deadline for Friday. If he does not have a deal, he will cut off negotiations. We're not worried at all that Lamar Jackson's not going to play in this game, right? There's no concern about that, or what do you think?
Wait, what? No, he never said he's not playing. He just said he doesn't want to negotiate during the season.
Yes.
So there will be no in-season negotiations because he wants to focus on playing football. No, he's not holding out.
Okay, good. I just wanted to clarify this more so because I picked up Tyler Huntley this week just because.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what is wrong with you?
I was just a little concerned, okay? And we have a very deep league, okay? We have a very deep league, so I'm like, okay, I can afford to pick up Tyler Huntley and even stash him on my bench for a little bit because of, like, just
that comment should make you feel like crap because you're saying the same thing that you're questioning possibility the same thing that Bailey is saying. And if you're anyone on any wavelength with Bailey, you're wrong.
Well, I don't think Lamar Jackson holds out.
But the fact that you brought up the question and you picked up Tyler Huntley, there's a sliver of something in you that says there's a possibility.
That's just how great of a host I am because I have to ask these questions, whether I believe it or not. I have to ask these questions.
What's that got to do with you picking up Tyler Huntley in fantasy?
It's not just because of him holding out. Lamar Jackson could easily get hurt again, and I have his back.
Who in the hell drafts backup handcuff quarterbacks? Name one fantasy player.
I didn't draft him.
Name one fantasy player that picks up a handcuff quarterback.
Me. In a 50.
My point
when we have 500 damn roster spots in this league,
it's 20. Okay? It's 20.
There's a lot of damn 20 roster spots in a 12-team league. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the backup quarterback to my guy. And really, I'm not gonna lie, I did do it because of the slight concern of maybe there's this slim chance that he doesn't play.
See, just be honest with us. Don't lie to the people. Don't lie to the population of the city. I don't care if it's both.
Hey.
I said there's part of you that is doing it because you're worried. Don't lie to the people in the city. Otherwise, people are going to pack their bags and leave.
And you are correct. Give me the Ravens here, 35-17.
I think it's a blowout. I will take the Baltimore Ravens 40-20.
Okay.
No, you know what? That's too much respect for the Jets. 40-13.
Yeah, I thought I was going just trying to bury the Jets there, but you continued piling it on. AJ has the Ravens 27-17.
And Dylan has the Ravens over the Jets. He didn't give me scores.
Yeah, there you go. All right, next game on the list. It's the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Houston to take on the Texans, an AFC South division matchup here. The over-under is 45.5 points. Aaron, I'm going to start with this. The Colts obviously brought in Matt Ryan, brand new quarterback. Offense should be looking different in this game. What do you expect to see from this new look Colts offense?
I expect them to open it up a little bit more with the trust that Matt Ryan is better than Carson Wentz. And I think we all agree that. I think we're talking about a Hall of Fame quarterback, arguably. I think Matt Ryan comes out and sets a tone against a young Houston team. It wouldn't shock me if there was an upset, but I do think Matt Ryan plays well in this one, and I think the connection between him and Michael Pittman will be nice. I think Jonathan Taylor will have a nice day on the ground because Houston is so young. But this is the Colts are a funny team. Because I don't know that based on last year not making the playoffs, but I think they're a solid team. And I think that they'll kind of coast through the regular season, win some games, lose a couple they probably shouldn't, win some they shouldn't, and just kind of coast into that division title because that division's not very strong.
Last season, the Indianapolis Colts outscored the Houston Texans 62-3. 62-3 last season. On the defensive side for Houston, do we see we see a better performance from them, not allowing so many points, and maybe their offense scoring a little bit more?
I think you see improvement. Again, I don't like to translate exactly what improvement equates to on a scoreboard. I think that's kind of unfair. But I do think you see improvement in certain key areas. I don't think they're as bad against the run as they are last year. I don't think I think they'll be able to cover a little bit better. I think they're going to be more rejuvenated and energized from a Jalen Petrie, right? Young guy who's coming in and kind of taking that leadership role. Derek Stingley's there. I think some young guys bringing some energy will help them. And then Lovie Smith is obviously a defensive coach. So I think they play better, but that doesn't necessarily mean the score or the outcome of the game is any different. But I do like Houston, man. I like what they're doing. I don't fully believe in Davis Mills, but I think he's very Mac Jones-esque. I do. I think he can be Mac Jones. I really do think he'd be a starter in this league at, the 20 to 32 starting quarterbacks, somewhere along those lines. But he's got to cut down to me on some of the ill-advised throws. But I like the fact that he takes chances being a young guy that maybe wasn't supposed to make it anyways. And I really worry about the weapons they have on the outside. You get Brandon Cooks, but Nico Collins is going to be big for him. They have to have somebody else step up. And I think Nico Collins and now Tyler Johnson being there could help that. And then maybe you get a Brevin Jordan, get him going this year, and maybe that offense can put up a little bit more points.
Yeah, and look, turning our attention to the running backs in this game, two running backs, one that is the best in the league in Jonathan Taylor, and one that we all have very high hopes for in Dameon Pierce for the Texans, the rookie running back out of Florida. Starting with Jonathan Taylor on the Colts side, last year, Jonathan Taylor absolutely scorched the Texans. And almost, I wonder if it's like a game script thing. And that's kind of where I'm going with the question. Last year, he had 14 carries, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the first game, 32 carries, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the second game. So quite a lot of carries for Jonathan Taylor against the Texans. Do you think that this game, I talked to first about what do you expect to see from the Colts offense? You said open it up. Do you think this game might not go into that direction because of game script and then just continue to work Jonathan Taylor like they did last season?
Oh, I think you can open it up. I'm looking for them to open it up early. So if you open it up and then you go up 21-0, and then at the end of the day, you look and Jonathan Taylor has 25 carries and Matt Ryan only threw the ball 25 times. Like, people might look at that box score and say, oh, they just did the same thing they did last year. But that's not how I watch football. It's not how I evaluate football. In the first half, if Jonathan Taylor has 8 carries and Matt Ryan throwing the ball 22 times and only in the second half he's only throwing it a couple, then they opened it up. And I think that's what we see here. I don't think it's going to be unbalanced. I just think it would be more balanced than it was last year. I don't think you're going to see Jonathan Taylor with 35 carry games this year. I truly don't. I think if they're up that much, I think you mix in some other guys because you want to make sure that he's healthy. At the end of the day, Jonathan Taylor cannot carry the workload of 400 touches every single year. Nobody can. Nobody can. Touches go down usually each year for a player. I don't expect him to touch the ball that many times this year, as many as last year. He'll get the ball plenty, but not as many as last year. And I think that Matt Ryan is there for that reason, to throw the ball a little bit more, get up on teams, and then allow Jonathan Taylor to bruise you and batter you and then get his work. So early, open it up. Obviously, if it's a blowout, yeah, they're going to run the ball in the second half.
Okay. And on the Texans side, your boy Dameon Pierce, what do you think his stat line is in week 1?
Tough matchup. Lovie Smith had an interesting take when he said he's earned the right to be out there with the starters. Exactly. Even Layla loves Dameon Pierce. I love it. But then you have to worry about his third down usage. Rex Burkhead is probably going to be the passing down back. I expect Dameon Pierce probably to get anywhere between 17 to 20 touches in this game from a rushing perspective. So I don't know how many catches he'll get or how many targets. I'm not sure how they'll use him on third downs. But I do think that he'll get up there anywhere from, I should say, 15 to 20, because if they're getting blown out, he might find himself game scripted out of the game. But I do think he is the guy. I don't think it's particularly close. I think it was made clear when they cut Marlon Mack. Rex Burkhead is not an every down running back. We know that. And I think Dameon Pierce has earned his job, and I think he'll be good this year. I think he's solid.
The Colts have lost 8 straight season openers. That is the active streak for season opening losing streaks. And actually it's third right now all time. So give me the Colts here to break that streak. 27-21. I think the Texans keep it interesting. Like we've said before, I think the Texans are a team that'll make wins hard for other teams, but they still they can't win this game. It's 27-21 Colts.
I think I had Houston upsetting the Colts here when we did our, each game by game or whatever. Dylan has the Colts here. I'm going to take the Colts as well. I think the Colts win 31-23.
We've got breaking news before we move on to our next team. Lamar Jackson will not be getting a contract, according to Tom Pelissero and a statement from Eric DaCosta. Quote, despite best efforts on both sides, we were unable to reach a contract extension with Lamar Jackson. We greatly appreciate how he has handled this process, and we are excited about our team with Lamar leading the way. We will continue to work towards a long-term contract after the season, but for now, we are looking forward to a successful 2022 campaign. Oh, thanks, Bailey, for the breaking news, but we take care of it here.
Bailey, in 5 minutes, your take was just crushed, because if Lamar Jackson was holding out, he would have said he's not playing.
That too. And also, I do really want to emphasize this note here that from Eric DaCosta saying, we greatly appreciate how he has handled the process, and we're excited about our team with Lamar leading the way. Lamar Jackson is growing to be one of my favorite players in this league. Like, even in fan, that's why I'm emotionally tied to him, and that's why I drafted him first and then drafted Mark Andrews in the third. I'm starting to become more and more emotionally tied to Lamar Jackson because of just how he's handling this entire situation. Like, aside from like the joke about me being emotionally tied to him, like, I push aside the emotions. The way Lamar Jackson is handling.
Did you draft Dak Prescott 2 years ago? I'll keep bringing this shit up. Lamar Jackson's not the first person to do this.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I don't care about that.
You keep talking about it like he's doing something special. All he's doing is negotiating his deal.
In this day and age, when people and players are just holding teams ransom for money.
I have a problem with being like when we do this and we ridicule others and we pick out and choose when it's okay to go for your money.
Well, we didn't have the show when Dak Prescott was doing that. So, okay, so I'm here to say, and actually, I do know we did have a show at that point when Dak Prescott was like going through his contract.
But you weren't over there sopping about it. I want to give him a hug, and I love him so much, and he's my favorite player of all time now. And blah.
I said that. I said I was hyped about. I liked the way Dak Prescott was handling it. I liked the way Lamar Jackson has handled it. Adam Schefter reports that he said he turned down the deal. He'll now make $23 million this season and is expected to be franchise tagged after this season. So
so they can do it, make sure they can make it happen. Deal.
Yeah,
this is exactly how the Dak Prescott deal played out. This is exactly how it played out. Yeah. That's all I'm saying, and he'll get his $50 million a year. Tell him, Layla.
Honestly, what's happened, pull the curtain back. So I'm in my apartment complex is like fairly new, and like all the buildings and apartments next to me are getting are still in the process of being built. And like they have these like cleaning people here, and we're here. I hear mariachi music next door, and Layla is just losing her shit to mariachi.
You're just telling me you can't keep your kid in line. I understand. That
is correct. Not without my wife here, and she is not here, and that's exactly what happens. Let's move on, though, to our next game. I wish that breaking news would have happened when we were covering the Ravens and the Jets, but
that was great.
One game short. But next game on our list, it's the New York Giants traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The over-under in this game is 43.5 points. Aaron, what player has the most to prove early in this season? I mean, we talked about Treylon Burks, talked about like Ryan Tannehill, Saquon, all those guys. Which player has the most to prove early on in the season?
Well, it's easy. It's Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is he's on his way out. He's on the final chance of his life as a starting quarterback, because I don't know who would give him another chance to start, maybe as a backup somewhere, but it's Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has to come out and play well this year and prove to them that they could trust him to at least transition him for another year, to say, hey, you know what, we'll give you a short-term deal or something that we believe your growth is enough to say maybe we can build something with Brian Dable. This is it for Daniel Jones, or even latch on to a different team. We could argue Ryan Tannehill, but Ryan Tannehill has a big contract. He ain't going nowhere this year. Even if he does, he's paid. What does he got to prove? Like, he's had good seasons in the past. He's had some bad seasons in the past. I think Ryan Tannehill, we know what he is. He's 9 years in. So you talk about Treylon Burks. He's a rookie. I don't really like to put those expectations on rookies, even though everybody wants to call him A.J. Brown 2.0. He's not, but he's going to have to obviously prove he can be that. But I think the most pressure is on Daniel Jones, just because of the position he plays and what's at stake for the Giants. You could argue Saquon, but he's a running back. Nobody cares. Like, at the end of the day, we talk about Saquon as being one of the best, and dang, we would love to see it. But if Saquon disappears into the abyss and has a bad season this year and is not on the Giants next year, like, nobody at the end of the day is going to look back and be like, oh my God, that Saquon Barkley guy. Like, he doesn't play quarterback, so nobody cares.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's actually where I wanted to go next, is with these two running backs. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, very well-known running back, very good running back when healthy. Derrick Henry has been healthy most of his career, except for last season, getting injured, missing a good chunk of time, both returning from injury. Which running back do you think has the better game on Sunday?
It might surprise you. How'd you know I was going to say Saquon Barkley?
Well, surprise, this is actually B-roll for both Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, because I didn't know where you were going.
Because he didn't know where I was going. Oh, look at that truck stick. To me, it's Saquon because of the versatility. Week one, healthy, out of the backfield, one of the better receivers in the league, and he has the explosiveness to take it to the house. Derrick Henry is a feed me type of running back, which means you have to give him usually 20 plus carries, 25 carries, and he gets going, and then he has those big long runs like that. I don't particularly care for running backs like that. It's great when you can bruise a defense and then wear them out and then get that big one. But there are too many games where I'm going to see 18 for 46, or, you know what I mean? Like, and again, I don't know this. It sounds like I'm bashing him, but the man ran for 2,000 yards and all this stuff.
Yeah, no one's discrediting his.
He's coming off an injury, and I like the fact that I want a guy that's going to give me 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6. I'd rather have that than a guy that gets me 2, 25, 2, 25. Like, I don't really like that style of running back. I feel like it's more impactful in a game if you can just 4, 5, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then you can also hit the home run. So that's my personal preference. But they're both great running backs, and both probably will have really good days.
And you think Saquon has the better day?
I do. From a statistical perspective, I do. I think that Saquon is just more versatile. Derrick Henry's not going to be used out of the passing game. And despite what people think, I know Tennessee plays ahead a lot, but I think the Giants, you have to wait for my score. I think the Giants have a chance in this game. And I think Saquon is going to be heavily used, especially with the injuries coming back from the wide receivers. Kenny Golladay hasn't been playing very well. I think he's going to be used a lot. So give me Saquon.
Yeah, we talked about the Colts just before and talked about how they had the longest active week 1 losing streak. The Giants are actually right behind them with 5 straight week 1 losses. You take the Giants in this game. What's your score?
Well, actually, I said I'm thinking about taking the Giants. On the road is tough, but I am going to take the Giants. I told Tennessee fans I'm not excited about this team. I think the Giants week 1 healthy can go on the road and get this win. Giving Brian Dable some respect here. I'll take the Giants 24-21.
I went on record many of times thinking that the Tennessee Titans were I have the Tennessee Titans going I believe 6-11 I think is what I had their record, and in my predictions I had them winning this game, and I will stick with that. I will take the Tennessee Titans here 21-17. AJ is going with the Titans as well, 23-17. I think at the end of the day we're going to see some growing with the Giants and this Brian Dable team. Like, it's not a discredit to them by any means, and it's not a credit to Tennessee by any means, I should say. But I do think that they're still growing there. And Mike Vrabel, I think it's more this season with the Tennessee Titans losing games against good teams, and they still beat the bad teams because they're still that good. And then this game, it's one of those situations where they take down the New York Giants.
Dylan also has the Titans over the Giants.
There you have it. Last game on the schedule for us to preview. It's the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are 3-point favorites over the Raiders with an over-under, the second highest over-under this week, with 52 total points in this game. Last year, we saw quite the battle between these two teams, a battle to get into the playoffs, and the Las Vegas Raiders ended up winning this with the rushing attack being a big factor in this game. Lots of impact players were added to both these teams in the offseason, with Devontae Adams going to the Raiders. You got Khalil Mack going to the Chargers. Lots of big additions to both teams. Aaron, what impact player will make the biggest difference first, at least in this game?
What, new player or just player?
I'm going to go with a player in general, because I feel like both these teams have tons of impact players, including the new guys. So maybe it's a new guy, maybe it's not a new guy. I'll let you have some free range.
It's easy for me. The more things change, the more things stay the same. And for me, it's about the Chargers defense, and it has been about the Chargers defense. And the one thing that I'm looking at is my guy. You know where I'm going with this. I'm going with my dog. I'm going with my dog. Josh Jacobs is the difference maker in this game, because the Chargers could not stop the run when it mattered most. And guess who was running the ball when it mattered most on them? It was that guy right there. It was Josh Jacobs. So the more things change, bring in this guy, bring in that guy. I watched preseason, it looked the same. So I need to be proven wrong. I need the Chargers to prove me that they can stop the run. And right now, I think the Raiders are going to be committed to the run. I think all the talk about Josh Jacobs, and he's on his way out and all that, maybe. But this year, Josh Jacobs is the only back that you can really trust in that backfield. Zamir White's a nice rookie, nice player, but do you trust him? They go and they get rid of Kenyon Drake, so obviously you didn't trust him. So where does that leave? That leaves Josh Jacobs, the veteran that's been consistent year in and year out. I think it happens there, and I'm not saying he's going to, like, Bailey's talking.
I knew where you were going too. I knew where you were going. That's why I pulled the comment up at least, because I was like, okay, he's going towards that route. I'm getting this.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Like earlier, I saw in the comments, he talked about Tua, over under 350 yards. Like, that's just an absurd over under for a quarterback. Like, if he throws 348, are we saying it was bad? No. So stop putting such high bars for NFL players. 150 yards is not just dominate. Like, that's player of the week. That's like he destroyed them. I'm not saying that. I think the X factor is him. Key situations, 3rd and short. When you got 2nd and 14, is he now taking it to 3rd and 3? Or, plays like that. Impact. When you watch a football game, the regular fan watches how many yards, first down, what's the score. I'm watching for key plays and key moments, 3rd and long, 2nd and longs, 1st and 10. Are you getting 6 yards or are you only getting 2? Those plays are impact plays that create so much for an offense. And I'm sorry, if you get the Raiders in 3rd and short with Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller, good luck. You got one of the best slot wide receivers in running routes, one of the best tight ends in finding holes in the zone, and there's nobody on this planet that can stop Devontae Adams one-on-one or a zone. So good luck. So I think he's the X factor. I think if he plays well, the Raiders win. If the Chargers come out and prove that their defense is better and they can shut down Josh Jacobs and the running game, the Chargers will win this game. And I think they would win this game easily if that happens.
With the over-under being 52 points, are you expecting, like, obviously odds makers are expecting this game to be a shootout. Do you see this being a shootout? I mean, you're the king, apparently, of predicting blowouts nowadays after your great Thursday night football start. Are we expecting a shootout here, or do you think these new and improved defenses kind of lock it down and we hit the under?
The AFC West is going to score a lot of points despite the defenses, even if they're good. I think this game goes over. I told you this was my highest rated fantasy game. I think there's a ton of points scored, and it's not a knock, really. I know I just talked about the Chargers. It's not a knock to the Chargers defense or the Raiders defense. These offenses are going to be really, really good. So I expect even when the defense is able to make plays, guess what that's going to do? That defense is going to make a play, and it puts Justin Herbert on the field. That defense on the Raiders is going to make a play. It puts Derek Carr and Devontae Adams on the field. So, yes, they can make plays, but I still think there's enough scoring there. I don't think it's a very defensive game overall, but I do think that there will be some key defensive plays, and whoever makes those plays will probably pull this one out. Like I said, the only way this is not close would be if the Chargers blow out the Raiders because they stop the run and force the Raiders to do something that they don't really want to do. And that's my honest belief in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fair to consider that. A name to watch out for to see if he's in the lineup or not is J.C. Jackson. As of our recording of our show,
he's out.
It looks like he's not. Is he out?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I see.
Yeah.
That I do see. Sources tell me Chargers corner J.C. Jackson is not expected to play week 1. So that's a big loss for this Chargers defense. Man, this is going to be a great game. This is as cliche as that may sound. This is going to be a great game. I want to bring up the stat here. Derek Carr, as the underdog since 2014, leads the NFL in underdog wins since 2014 with 31 wins. So, like, they're the dog here.
Such a stupid stat.
Hey, there's my useless stat of the day.
The reason it's stupid is because when they're a bad team, they're usually the underdog. So any wins they get goes.
That's fair. That's fair enough. I will take the Chargers here, though. I will say it is 33-27 Chargers.
Close to what I have. I have 31-27 Chargers, and I'm strictly giving the Chargers the win because they're at home.
Yep.
And I know I've put a lot of a lot of caveats, but I truly do believe that they stop the run, they will blow out the Raiders, in my opinion. If the Raiders are able to run the football really well, the game's going to be close, and it could come down to the end. I'm just leaning a little bit more towards the home team here, although they're not that far apart. It's tough for me, but I'm gonna give the Chargers the benefit of the doubt. This might be the one time that I give them the benefit of the doubt week 1, because if they lose this game and they give up a lot, I'm coming back Monday, and I'm telling you, I'm going to let AJ specifically. I'm going to let AJ have it.
Well, AJ has the Raiders winning this game 30-21.
He doesn't know what he wants, man. He's so inconsistent. He's so inconsistent. He talked about the whole Chargers defense going to be one of the best, and all of a sudden now they're giving up 30 and losing week 1 at home. But come on, man. Get AJ back on this show. Anyways. Dylan has the Chargers over the Raiders as well.
There you have it. That does it for our week 1 previews and predictions. If you missed any of our game previews, we have them available on our YouTube page at Sac City Pod. We will have them on our YouTube page at Sac City Pod. So keep an eye on that. And if you want to go back and listen and watch and all that kind of stuff, you can always tune into us on all podcasting platforms at the Sac City Pod. Last but most certainly not least, follow us on all of our social media pages at the Sac City Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and the Tickety Talk. We will be back again on Sunday morning for our first edition.
We never named it. Can we name the Sunday show? Like, what are we gonna name it? Are we gonna go with Pigskins and Pancakes, or are we gonna go a different route?
I love Pigskins and Pancakes is always a classic, so I don't know if I want to get rid of that. But I think it'll be a word. You know what? Let's leave it up to our fan. Bailey, do you think we should have a Pigskin and Pancakes or not?
Yeah. Who's in the chat? Just Bailey's left in the chat. Okay.
There is 2 people in the chat.
No, they just left.
They just said, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." Bailey's still in the chat though. But we will name Bailey will have to be on one of our Pigskins and Pancakes shows.
We will announce. How about this? We will brainstorm. And we will announce the name of our new fantasy show, whether it's the same name as last year, and we will announce that tomorrow, Saturday. We will have an announcement on social media what our new show is.
All right, there you have it. You heard
Vinny will announce it, but
you heard it from the Muxiah himself. We will have an announcement, I guess, tomorrow regarding our name of our new fantasy show at 11 a.m. Eastern time, right here on YouTube, giving you all the fantasy advice you need to win your matchups on Sunday. Aaron, it's been fun. It's been great. I'm excited for football season to be back.
Week 1, baby.
Real quick, what game are you looking forward to most?
I mean, outside of my own. Outside of the Dallas Cowboys,
it could be your own. That's fine. That's my game.
I'm a Cowboys fan, so if I were you, I'd be rooting for the Jaguars. But
yeah,
honestly, it's the Raiders Chargers. As crazy as it sounds, it's the Raiders Chargers. But I'm excited for all the games because this is where all my predictions. You know me, I'm big on predictions, and I want to know if I'm in the right direction or if I'm just completely wrong about players. Like, I like information, and I think when you start to have real football, like I learned a lot from that game last night. Sunday, I'm going to learn a lot from those teams, and it's going to kind of rewire how I'm thinking about these players and teams going forward. So I love that. I could watch them all, man. Red Zone channel.
That's the route I'm going with. I'm excited. Other than the Jags games, I'm excited to see the Chiefs play, and I'm excited to see the Packers play because I want answers on what their wide receiver group is.
You're not going to get them.
I know I'm not, but I want to watch. I want to see how it looks. I want to go from there and talk about that. We'll be back again, 11 a.m. Eastern time, fantasy talk on Sunday, and our recap shows begin on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, right here at the Sac City Pod on YouTube. For my best friend Aaron Mukes, I am me. We will see you Sunday. No way. He froze during his goodbye.
How you freeze right at the Peace out.